I can always edit.
Okay.
I don't have to do that. Because there's no way we're gonna finish this morning.
Yeah.
But we have to, okay, so, in talking with Brandy last week, she, wants to know by today or tomorrow at the latest, who are sending for tutorials for STAR. She wants a list so that because I told her, I said, we're kind of concerned because biology and math, they already have mandatory tutorials and they're sending them twice a week, because Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. And I said, we don't have a day. So when are we going to be able to do that? And she wants the list ASAP so that we can start working on it. So what I did, you're gonna feel like data overload, I'm sorry. I already gave this to her on Friday. So, okay, I know. So this one that I just gave you, this is were your kids able to put in on Friday, the DMAC?
I didn't even leave it for them to do it this time.
Okay, so when we get that put in, are you gonna do that today?
Yeah.
Okay, then we just can put this out, it's not a big deal. But this is over the 4 tests that we've taken, and this tells us what teaks we're, like the one that I told you that we had growth on and the one we didn't have growth. So this is going through again, and the same thing. Lindsay Schumann, though, the math teacher, has a 100% test in here. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. On one test, I guess she must have had our code.
Yeah.
She must have looked at the code incorrectly. And,
Oh, yeah.
I
Sign her up to
consider it.
teach English. We need it 100%.
but then look, I don't know, look at the, I guess maybe they have the same numbers in teaks. 8, 9, and 10.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know,
it's so strange.
It is kind of funny. But I looked at it going, why is she in there? But anyhow,
I'm gonna ask her today at lunch.
I think that's funny. But I haven't, since we just took this in last week, I honestly haven't gone through and looked at this to see where we have growth and where we haven't. Because I was waiting until everybody got it done. Because I still have kids that are trying to enter it too. So this one is, this one's just every one of those teaks, what we're below on. So I think we're below a 60, that we need to kind of, that needs to be a focus in on our, what is it, the review, the Rockin' Review.
Probably under 65, right?
65, yeah. Because passing for this STAR is what? A 60?
65,
68. I knew it was a 60 something. Okay, so in the packet that I gave you, like I said, you're gonna feel like overload. But this one I think is very helpful. I don't know, pick one up that you're on the top. What do you have?
Oh,
on
I
the top?
have mine in my room. You can get it over there.
It says Teaks Performance Summary, is that what you have?
Yeah.
Okay, so which one do you have? Literary, fiction, nonfiction? What is it? It should be in yellow right there.
Expository literary.
Okay, let me look at the same one. Okay. So on this, I've been messing with DMAC like a bunch, and what I found is this is the TEACS tutorials, so it tells us on every one of those TEACS who performed well and who did not, and it actually gives us physical names, which I think is good, but then at the same time it's like almost overload, because it tells us every single kid who took the test. If it doesn't tell us if they mastered it, but if they're below, it tells us what their names are. And so I was thinking maybe we use this to go through and look at the names and see which names are repetitive, which we know who we're looking at to target already, at least I do. And I know y'all probably do too, knowing which ones to target, but then this also sees, like for my pre-AP kids, I have some that are actually, they're performing low on certain things, so that helps me to know. Because I know for sure, I have 2 pre-AP kids that need to go to tutorials, which you wouldn't think so, but I know they need it. So
are we taking the names from every single
Well,
because if we take the last one, I mean, that's only covering one genre. You know
that's why I printed out every single, that's why it's like overload on this.
Yeah.
Because it's, for every, and I highlighted it so it would be a little, because it takes forever to look at it to figure out what's what.
Yeah.
But no, on every single one of the tests that we've taken, it gives it every kid for every single test we've taken, except for those 2 and revising tests that the TEACS weren't in there. But we know editing and revising, no matter what, we have to do that. So, how do you wanna proceed with this?
I mean, I think it's gonna take quite a bit of time to look at every single one and see which names are reoccurring.
That's
But, I mean,
why,
we probably already have an idea of
Yeah.
the kids that need it, but this would be a great validation to say, yes. it
because this
definitely
is
needs
just individualized, but I did give you,
it.
not in this stack, but the stack that I've previously given you, that tells you, based on your class, what is the teak that is low performing.
Yeah.
And then that's this, and that's this again too. But this is not official until we get, everybody's scores in DMAC. But we can, instead of, you've got this information, which I think, after I did it, I started looking at it going, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
To do it this way, and I like got overwhelmed. After, I was like, oh, this would be great, and then I started looking at it going, oh my gosh, it's too much.
Yeah.
I think this one would be a better thing to do, and this is the comparison, and it's all of us together. It individualizes out which teak that we've done well on and which we haven't. But I can't tell you which ones we had. Like, remember on the last one, where we had the first three, I had whether we had growth or we went down. And so this one's gonna have all four of them together. It's just until we get everybody's scores in, we won't know where we've gotten growth and where we don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Are they not?
no, it has all three of us together.
Oh, okay. Well, how many kids are we expecting to be in?
That's what, I don't know.
Cause I think if we have a too big of a number, then tutorials at some point is kind of pointless. I don't know if you feel that way, cause I know that you had them last time, and I just don't see how you can get individualized help with 30 kids in 30 minutes. I mean, that's just not possible.
And so that's the other thing we talked too about doing it. I don't know how this is gonna work because we also have math and biology and they're wanting to pull them during activity period. And so logistically, we have 25 minutes. If we do it then, or we've talked about, cause math did it you were saying math did it where we pulled them in for an afternoon, right?
They did that in December.
So I'm wondering
It was
if,
a whole morning in the auditorium. It was math boot camp.
and I'm wondering if maybe we could do something like that because, and all three of us be there. Because then if we have 40 kids, between the three of us, that might be more feasible.
But just one afternoon, like, how much are they gonna gain in one afternoon?
I don't know.
Cause that was after they'd been through tutorials for
The entire semester.
the entire semester. I think if one afternoon, that's just gonna be another class period to them, and they're just gonna,
But see, I'm only, what I'm afraid of is I know like for my regulars, two of the kids, for sure, they're always on the list for math and biology, always. So how am I gonna be,
I think that's why Brandy wants our list this week, so that we can figure that out by the time we get back from spring break, so that they can say, hey, for this week, you're not going to math 2 days, you're going to this and this.
Yep.
And this week you are going to math for 2 days, but now you're gonna go to biology once and English once. Because Allison Coleman is the one who did that for us last year, and we were in the rotation, so kids, their schedules said on what weeks and what days that they were going to.
so we're looking at maybe 2 days a week.
Oh yeah, for sure, just 2 days a week.
So at the most 45 minutes
Right.
a week.
I think in my mind, whenever I had all of those freshmen last year, I mean, it was a bunch of kids in there.
Yeah.
I think that you can't not do it because you can't, I think we would get ourselves in more trouble if we knew that these kids needed some intervention, we didn't provide it to them. I'm not gonna say that tutorial time works miracles, because from what I saw from last year, I have all of those kids this year. They're all in my practical and creative writing classes because they still didn't pass. But also, I wasn't their teacher. Like, it was this really strange setup. So if we do those 3 weeks before the test, we get back from spring break and you have a week and Taylor has a week and I have a week, we can decide who's doing what genre per week. So if you're gonna do fiction and lit non or something, I don't know, then we could just look at that test and see who the lowest performing kids are. And then in those 2 days that you have that week, they got an extra practice in.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's just taking, I mean, I think you can do it however you want to. I don't know in 25 minutes how you can I don't think
You
you're
can't do
gonna
a
hit a
story.
bunch of teaks in 25
No.
minutes, but maybe you can get through, if you read it to them really quickly, because it's pointless to only read the story and not get to the questions because they have a day in between before they come back.
Yeah.
And I remember Allison, I was telling her that a back-to-back day would be more beneficial, but it just wouldn't work with the schedule. So you like really have to buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's probably better than nothing, and maybe that kid just realizes,
I mean,
I'm on the list.
What if we took their common assessment? They've already read the story, so we don't have to re-expose it to them.
Because
And then just
correct.
go over the questions.
That's a great
correct.
idea.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
Cause then we're not trying to,
I love it.
yeah.
We're not trying to
Grab a
reinvent the
story.
wheel. Yeah. We just maybe reread it to them again really quickly just because. You have to
They're
refresh
probably
their
going
memory.
they're going to
Right.
have forgotten it, and some of them.
But
have not
they've read it, so they're familiar with it. It'd be the second
But
time.
it would be nice if they're familiar, yeah.
I think though, like, I don't know if the problem is reading the story and answering the questions, I think it's understanding the question.
Yeah.
You know, and so like, we could even go through the question, what is this question asking?
But that's something we need to do in all classes.
Right,
Right, which we
these
should
kids-
be doing that in
yeah.
our relevant review
Yeah.
for
Right.
those 3 weeks anyways.
Yeah, but I'm just saying extra practice, like, maybe they just need extra practice understanding the question, I don't know, I mean, maybe after one day we can decide, did this work or did it not work? But I mean, I don't know.
The biggest thing is we have to get the list ASAP, because that has to be, because she's wanting to get the schedule done so that on Monday after spring break, we are rocking and rolling.
When we create this list, like you said a second ago, is that you have all those same ones in there in your classes. And to be honest, and I know this sounds kind of unfair, but there's gonna be kids that just struggle and that just aren't gonna pass that we know of. Are those kids that we wanna bring in for tutorials, or do we wanna bring the ones in that they're on the line here and we can, maybe with some extra practice, bring them up?
Legally, I think we
I
have
think
to.
you have to do all
Yeah,
of
we have to
those
do
that
all
are
of them.
failing. Yeah.
All the ones that are
Yeah.
failing?
I mean, I don't think we can be like, well, you're hopeless. You'll
Well,
go
no,
to intervention.
that's
You'll
not
go
what
to
I'm saying,
You'll be in that
exactly.
class next year.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
we
know?
have to, I mean, anyone who's performing well, we have to pull them in. But that's the thing, I haven't looked at my numbers, but for my regular classes, I went back and looked, and I was able to, it took me forever to figure this out, because I wanted to pull my pre-AP kids out so that I could get real data based off of my regular kids. And then my kids are performing exactly the same as your kids.
That makes sense.
The exact same, the score wise for my regulars is exactly, they were right on with your scores. But with my pre-AP kids, makes them look like they're way up here.
Yes, I'm with you.
And so I finally figured out, it took me forever, but I finally figured out how to pull their data out just individually.
I
Also,
say,
what I would do what you're asking is when they come in, or whether it be the 2 days a week, you could seat them that way though. Not to say that this side of the room's hopeless. I mean, as far as numbers and data, if they are gonna work it all with each other, you put those 4 kids that are way, way, way below over there. These 4 kids that are below, I mean, you could,
Yeah.
you know, just stick them in the corner, but, so when you're presenting your review, it's,
Yeah.
these kids, I've gotta, and we don't ever really announce that. I mean,
right.
I think you could be purposeful with the
How you-
partner
how you
work
put the
and
room.
who seats,
Yeah, that-
and who sits with who.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that when we get this down, that we make signs to put in the hallways that say Monday math, Tuesday science. I mean, when we come back.
Right.
So the kids will know.
Yeah.
You know, now still whether they show up or not, that's the frustrating part.
Well, that's the
Right.
frustrating part, yeah.
Well,
But-
that will be interesting too to see if Randy, if the schedule worked for us to be like, for week 1, this is who we need, and for week 2, this is who we need, and week 3, this is who we need. I don't know how complicated that will make things, you know, because we're just doing 2 genres per teacher, you know, so that's all that you're covering, or that you're covering this common assessment, this reading passage, and this revising that we did, you know.
Yeah.
So who?
So if you saw a kid in week 1, you wouldn't see them in week 2 or 3.
Maybe not, or maybe you would.
Maybe not.
Possibly,
Yeah.
depending on the numbers.
Just
some of
depending
them-
on who it was
Yeah.
and how hard they tried that day.
See, and that's the other thing, I have some kids, and I know that'll happen too, that
Oh,
just-
yeah. No,
they're
for
done
sure.
in 15 minutes, and they never try on those things.
Well, those are the ones that
I know.
that will be with me.
But I have one kid, he's so smart. He is so smart.
Well, he might perform the day of.
I know.
He
and
might
I'm
decide
hoping-
like, okay, fine, I'll
I'm
do
hoping
this
he
that day.
will. But and every time we give him a common assessment, he's just,
Yeah, I have some.
I mean, I know we have
I have
those, but
4.
they could just care less.
Yeah.
To make it less difficult on Brandy, what if we didn't change it up week to week and we just took the ones that in general struggle most, like that in general they perform less than
So what are our
50%?
criteria for that? Are we gonna say that if you've performed on every single, cause I have some that have not passed one
I
single
mean,
common
those are the
assessment.
ones that
I think
we
there are
need to
gonna
look
be
at.
a lot of the same kids.
Yes.
So are we
But I
gonna
hate
say-
to, like, I mean, I guess we could just decide, like, if there's this kid that's in the mix that you know shouldn't be in the mix, I guess we can bump them out.
Because there's some like on, one kid I know like failed, like made a 30, but then on every other common assessment's made a 70 or a 60 or 70. I wouldn't pull that kid.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It was
I guess
just
you
on
can
that.
make that decision. If you see one of those kids, like, yeah, this is, there's no point. I mean, they got it, they.
And you can pull up, and if y'all need me to, I can show you, it's just lengthy and I didn't wanna do it, but if you wanted to look at, like, you wanna look at all your kids, and it'll show you, like on one sheet, if they've passed any of them, like it's just one, but I didn't wanna print it out for everybody.
Yeah, that would probably be helpful.
But it's
That
on,
might be how we can get the tutorial list.
okay, let me show you real quick on DMAC. It's really easy to do it, it's lengthy. And so I didn't, and I know I like data overloaded you, but it's just kind of like, I thought it'd be great, and then I went home and started looking at it thinking, it's just too much to have to cull through all of that.
Yeah.
It's great information,
No, it
but
is, you're right, it is good information.
it's too much. So if you go on DMAC and, okay, I see.
Dang it, Ryan Owens.
So if you click on your, if you come up here to reports, and you go to teachers, and then you wanna click on your classes. And then you have to click, oh, is it not gonna let me? I did this the other day,
Are these hers?
No, it has, there's one that has all 3 of us together, writings on the front.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how to do this. I don't think it's gonna let me do each one of
Do we wanna just take whoever scored below? Cause we have to realize our relevant review is gonna bring
Yeah, and see, you
quite a
can
few up.
change
So
the
do we wanna
flag.
do whoever makes 60% and under? Like, is 8%, is that reasonable for them to gain within?
I mean,
3 weeks?
that's like 2 questions. you
Right,
know?
so I think maybe we should only take those who made 60% and under.
Sounds good to me.
60%?
Yeah, what do you think?
Okay,
I like
but you can change this in here, and I can't remember which one it is.
I like it.
That way maybe we're missing some of those that, like, you know, they just got tired or had some off day or something like that.
They never.
And I think it's individual. No, how did that do it? Oh, you have to go in and click on the actual student, okay. So this will take a little bit of time to do it. But like, if I clicked on you, for instance, and I wanna do just local history, and click on the tests, the first 4 that we've done, and I'm just doing the local history. Oh, I did 2. Okay. So there, no, that's not the one I'm wanting. There's one where it has their actual name, where it tells me what their grade is.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking would be the most beneficial too.
I can't remember which one it is now. I think maybe it's this one, local history.
I think it's the one you just did. Takes progress.
Okay, there it is. So then you have, they'll tell you how they've done on every single test.
I think that's what we need.
But you have to go, you'll have to go in and
Click all of their names.
click all of their names,
Okay.
which will take a little bit of time, but that way, I think it would be less time doing this than it would be.
Right, I agree.
And then here's the passing standard, we can change that passing standard. No, you can't.
60.
Well, not on this one, but you can on a different one. But if you're gonna look at this, it'll just tell you whether but here is gonna give your score, like there's 80%, 88, 75, 79.
So Lizette, you do not have to come to.
No, she does not. Now, if you're looking at grades in class, that's a different story. But, that, it'll take a little bit of time to click all your names,
But I think that.
but I think that would be less cumbersome than all of this.
Yes, agreed. Okay.
So then you would know, like, when you're looking through it. And it's a matter of if you wanted to, I'm probably gonna print mine out, cause I need to highlight.
Yes, I will do the same.
But that'll be an individual thing. So did you see how I did that?
Not at all,
Okay.
but I will come let you show me later.
Okay.
We could even
Sorry,
use that.
I had to figure out, I knew I had done it, I just had to remember
No,
how.
I will come to you later and
Okay.
let you show me how to do it.
But I think
because
that-
I'm not savvy to do that.
That will be, well, and the only reason why I am is because here lately I have
That's
put in
great.
so many hours looking, I think I could teach DMAC
I
now.
think you do too.
So not that I want to, but I could.
Right.
No, I know now how to do the different stuff and get the information that we need, just because I've been messing with it. Oh, okay. So what are we doing for Rock and Review?
I think
that
we
day.
just, I think we need to just meet one afternoon
I
and
think
go
we should
through.
too.
And the afternoon was actually really beneficial, as far as like how to apply everything we learned in the morning.
Oh, good.
So I'll show y'all how to do that. But one last thing, on Wednesday, Mark Hamill's gonna be on campus and may show up in our rooms, and so just heads up for that. Not that you need to change anything.
This week.
Yeah, I am too, but.
So, we need to, when are we gonna, can we logistically get the list to her by tomorrow morning?
I think we could. I just have to come learn how to do that.
Okay, it won't take me very long to show you.
My kid's gotta put that in today.
But and this is not gonna be useful as much you put it in. So after school today, I can show you how to do that.
I think that we just need to decide when we're gonna meet in the afternoon. We can talk about Rock and Review, go over that, and then
I think that's good.
be set.
And we're gonna plan out all,
Today, but I have a cheer meeting today.
Yeah, I can't do today, but I could do, I think, any day.
I can do any day this week. And so we can plan out all that, we're gonna plan out from spring break until testing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna do ours for 3 weeks, and they did say at Rock and Review that for high school, that they knew would be more than 10 days.
Yeah. And I've already,
And we need it.
yeah, and I've printed off everything too, so y'all won't need to bring
We
anything,
kind of wrote down like a tentative schedule at Rock and
Okay.
which
Review.
was helpful.
Yeah,
for
I think
me
so
and
too.
stuff.
Cause the thing that I've noticed that they're it's up and down on some of the teaks for the reading, but I think they're much stronger on the reading section. It's that editing, revising.
Well, I don't think that we've spent enough time on that, so I think in relative review, that's
We've gotta
gonna have
spend
to
some
be
more time on
a
it.
big focus.
Sorry.
Can we do this tomorrow? You
Tomorrow
wanna meet
school?
tomorrow after school?
Tomorrow after school works for me.
Okay,
I can do it.
and then I think we can get it done in like an hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
Okay, so let's meet tomorrow to do Rock and Review. At that time, we could also discuss what expository prompt we're gonna do this week. I think we can knock all this out.
Which, are we gonna do it one that's been done on a prior test?
I think I would.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I'm asking, because I've been going over the prompts with my regular kids, and I wanna make sure I don't go over the one we think we would.
I think it'll be all right if you did, as long as they didn't write it.
Yeah, they're just doing the brainstorm.
Yeah.
Wish I could help y'all, but I have something to do tomorrow afternoon, and I have soccer at 5.
Oh.
So,
I'm gonna hold it against you.
dang,
Maybe we should use Gomez's graphic organizer.
there you go.
And
We're all
Yeah.
back in a second right now with this, is that the latest DMAC code?
Yeah, no,
No. I'll,
that is not,
I
it's
have
on this one.
102-5616.
How do you memorize those so quickly?
1025616.
And I actually, this time.
And that's
sorry,
for that hair passage you just did, okay.
I wrote it on there before I made copies.
I did not.
But I knew
And
I was
I
gonna be
kinda
gone,
know
so
when
I
I-
did that.
2 previous tests.
I can do that for you.
Okay,
Which ones?
I don't know, I'll go look at the titles
Let me
and
know.
I'll
It's
email.
real easy to do.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
That was some absent kids.
Right.
Okay, awesome, I like
Thank
it.
you all.
Good
We
job.
can finish that up. and see you
Happy
at
Monday.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Would that work for you?